The wind was blowing ever so softly. You could hear the rustle through the trees. The moon was shining brighter than ever. The stars were shining brighter than they ever have. The earth's beautiful embers of the night. The moon was shining brighter than my whole life had been. Brighter than my future. The moonlight shined down on me. But the moon wasn't alone. There was an accompanying planet. A new one. Just as big as the moon was. The planet was a mixture of pink and purple. Sitting crisscrossed, I looked around the area. I was alone in the woods. But it wasn't dark, and I wasn't scared. I felt at peace. I was wearing my red and gray hoodie hood up. I stood up and lifted my head and arms and let the breeze run through me as I shut my eyes. I breathed in through my nose as the breeze picked up. The air felt cold and fresh. I could feel the cold enter my lungs, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It felt amazing. The woods were dimly lit up by a blue light that wasn't coming from the sky, but it was just there with me. I looked up. I looked all around at the sky. It wasn't night. It was like looking at outer space, as if I were an astronaut on the moon. Except it looked like a sky. It was a dark purplish blue, along with the beautiful stars, moon, and purple magenta-like planet. There were heavenly painted clouds, like God took his finest brush and painted the clouds in beautiful, soft, transparent, and thick strokes. There were other mysterious planets that looked just as big and as beautiful as the moon and magenta purple planet. There was what looked like some sort of blue Saturn, a bright green planet that had a bunch of little green moons around it, a golden Pluto, and various other planets scattered across the sky. It was breathtaking. I held my breath for one final moment to take it all in. This forever is now. As I exhaled, the cold turned to warmth in my throat as I let the air go. I could have kept holding it. There was no suffocation here. I didn't even feel slightly smothered. Each breath was like a comforting blanket of peace. Nick, a female voice said in an echoing whisper. The voice was coming from all around me. I knew that voice. It was my girlfriend. I turned around to see her, also in a hoodie. Her jet black hair hung out of her hood. She was crying. I walked up to her until we were an inch away. Her eyes were red and her face flooded with tears. She took off my hood. She placed her hand on my cheek as she gasped between sobs. Come back to me. Her whispering voice echoed from all around me. Please. Her lips were moving. But it wasn't coming from her. Her voice was everywhere. She then vanished into thin air. I no longer felt at peace. I started to feel intense anxiety as the sky and planets disappeared into darkness. I started to cry and hyperventilate as I panicked. The once beautiful, dimly blue-lit woods were now all black around me. The woods started to burn down. The only light came from the intense flames. I fell to my knees gasping for air. The panic attack made me feel breathless. Suddenly, I looked up to see a blinding bright light slowly consume me as I started to hear the beeping of a heart monitor and my heartbeat. I heard my girlfriend's voice one more time as the light surrounded me.